Hello Internet, I am the hero of Julius once again with another One Piece chapter summary. This week's chapter is unfortunately titled Chapter 1085, The Death of Nefertari Cobra. And as any longtime One Piece fan will know, the last time Oda started a chapter with The Death of, he means it. A character dies, and Oda publicly announces it right up on the screen, so that there's absolutely no way for anyone to think, maybe this person survived. He did not. So, let's get into, well, first we should probably talk about the artwork. It is Frankie rooting on a bunch of baby sea turtles as they head out to the sea. He's got this sign telling them which way to go. It breaks his heart to see the little babies leave the nest, but, it's gotta be done. So, now we can actually get into the actual chapter itself, which, oh boy, starts off right where it left off with Eam sitting on his chair, or her chair, as Cobra's looking up, although more likely to be her after things we've seen in this chapter. We'll talk about it, but Cobra's looking up and he goes, that no one's supposed, he's thinking to himself, no one's supposed to be in that chair, and Eam's looking down at him, and Eam goes, I will tell you two things, and then I will ask you one question. That's it. And Cobra goes, I've heard the name Eam before. That's it's the name of one of the 20 kings. Is that or one of the 20 rulers? Is that a coincidence? And Eam goes, I'm not going to answer that. I mean, Eam speaks in a very dignified these and thous and thou art and I shall answer thine questions and things like that. But it just feels more blunt of Eam just being like, ask me a different question. I don't want to talk about that. So, it's entirely possible. A lot of people are already guessing it, but the original Op fruit that Law ate, the user before him, or at least a user sometime in the past, had to have used the Eternal Life Surgery. Otherwise, how would we know the Devil Fruit can do that? So, Eam may have been one of the patients that the surgery went with, and that's the reason Eam has lived for all of eternity. But that is neither here nor there. Eam is still a silhouette throughout the entire chapter. But Eam tells Cobra two things. One, D is the name of our ancient enemy. It is the D clan that was a big pain in my side and everybody else's side, and it's the big bad. They're the big bad for the world government, for the 20 kingdoms, for the Reverie, for everyone who is in power. D is a problem. The second answer, the second statement answer thing is, it is because of a mistake made by Queen Lily that caused the poneglyphs to be scattered across the ocean. As a result, pirates exist and have been scattered across the oceans themselves, looking for the poneglyphs and the One Piece and the road poneglyphs and the true history of the world. What's interesting about that is that Eam states that this was a mistake by Queen Lily that caused all of this to happen. Furthermore, those who are members of the D-Clan in this modern era are completely unaware of what that name means. It's just, anyone who has that name has been an inconvenience. But then Eam goes on to say, hey Cobra, that letter that Queen Lily sent her little brother in Alabasta, she signed it, and you keep saying that she signed it as Queen Nefertari of the, Queen Lily of the Nefertari family, but you keep neglecting to say her full name, so how about you say that? And as Cobra's looking around, he sees the 5 elders all pull out their guns, except for, Samurai Gandhi, who pulls out his sword, and he looks around and he goes, there is not a single lie I can tell you that would, change your minds here, huh? And one shakes his head and goes, nah, you sealed your fate as soon as you saw Eam. He went, okay. In that case, her name is Queen Nefertari D. Lily, which means Cobra, which means Lily, which means Vivi, which means her mother Titi, any children that Vivi would have, any ancestors Vivi has, Vivi of the Nefertari family in general, are members of the D clan. Which means, technically, Vivi and Lily, yes, they are. Vivi and Luffy are related, which is kind of cool. I mean, Luffy already considers her family, so that's a pretty good step in the right direction there. But as Cobra's making this big reveal, that is the same time Sabo has shown up and he's been listening in on this, and he sees them all pulling out their guns, and he sees Cobra, talking to Eam up there, and Cobra being a nice distraction is enough for Sabo to leap in there and just fire fist on the entire Gorosei. He takes all 5 of them out in a single blaze of fire. Unfortunately, he wasn't faster than their guns, and Cobra's on the ground, and Sabo's standing there right in front of Cobra's dead body. Little transponder snail, click, and that's the photo we see in the newspaper. That is Sabo murdering King Cobra. Luffy was right, we were right, Vivi was right, everybody knew Sabo didn't actually kill Cobra, but now we're caught up to what the audience, what the outside looking in knows. So we knew it wasn't true, but now we know why it isn't true, and that is very important. However, Cobra's not actually dead, and Sabo's like, hey, you, and he's like, listen, you don't worry about me. You gotta deliver a message to Vivi, and you're Luffy's brother, right? So you gotta tell him this too. And as Sabo is observing his surroundings, that's when the 5 elders take on their forms. The 5 elders are devil fruit users. There's been a lot of back and forth I've seen in a lot of other people's analysis videos of wondering whether or not the Gorosei are going to be just figureheads, if they're actually capable of fighting. This seems to confirm that they are leaning in the direction of people who are capable of fighting. I was leaning more towards the direction that they weren't, but it's fine either way. I mean, old men in One Piece aren't exactly frail, so... But they all, at first glance, seeing them all transform into these shadowy figures would make you think that they are all zone-type devil fruit users. But I would like to draw attention to Cypher Pole 9, who actually... Cypher Pole 0, which is made up of all the rest of the Cypher Pole 9 agents now, they're Cypher Pole 0 now, but when they were CP9, we actually saw in a cover story a silhouette of all of them in their animal forms. However, a few of their devil fruit users are not actual, zone-type users. In fact, Kumadori and Fukuro don't even have devil fruits, but they look like an owl and a lion, respectively. And Califa is able to look like a sheep with her soap bubbles, and then Bluno with his horns, he looks like a bull. So just because these guys look like animals or have a changed silhouette does not necessarily mean they are zone-type users. I'm sure 1 or 2 of them are, but I would not be too shocked if all 5 weren't. But we don't have time to see their really cool powers and stuff, because we get to see Eam's really cool power as he stabs a Cobra with a needle thing. So maybe Eam ate the vector fruit and can shoot arrows in any direction, or Eam's got a really long devil tail that he uses to stab people. However he did it, this is obviously an interesting power that we learned absolutely nothing else about, because Sabo grabs Cobra and books it. And as Sabo's running, Cobra tells him that he has to deliver the message. He actually jumps off of Sabo as Eam stabs into the 2 of them, and Cobra stands between the 5 elders and Eam and Sabo. And he stands there and he tells him, you have to get out of here, as a big roar happens. We don't know which person on the other side is roaring, but a roar happens. And he tells him, you have to get that message to my son, to my daughter, and Luffy, who is my relative, and your brother, and you gotta go. You got to go. And as Sabo makes his escape, as Cobra falls to his death, the Gorosei all turn, and they look at a little hole in the wall, and one of them says, who's there? And who is there but Wapple? Wapple saw everything, or at least enough. Which, I gotta give you credit, Oda. Absolute credit. A wonderfully bad, love-to-hate character like Wapol, and now you actually have me asking, is Wapol gonna be okay? Because he just runs as well. He is booking it, and he does not care where he's gonna end up. So we'll get to that in a moment. So as Wapol is running for his life, we actually see the other kings all starting to sit down, and Hamburg, says, I see, Wapol and Cobra didn't join us. I'm gonna guess after Cobra's impartful speech, he probably, is a little winded. So he's already happy with what happened to the 7 warlords of the sea. So I'm sure he's fine. And Wapol's Wapol. So let's just start without him. And it's actually really interesting that this was explicitly stated in the chapter, because I was just rereading Reverie, and I was trying to look for Wapol in the crowd for no other reason than just he stands out as a character, and I actually couldn't see him in the Ring of Kings. So I thought maybe he was just one of the off-screen kings, but maybe Oda was actually trying to foreshadow that Wapol wasn't there, which is really cool. Anyways, they start without him, and we cut to Vivi, who has been captured by CP0. She is tied up in a chair. Jabra and Califa are talking to her, and she's like, whoever did this, let me go. I'm gonna go, report what happened today to the world. And Chabra's like, why would we let you go if you just said that? That's not smart. And Califa goes, listen, whatever's happening, that's it. You're gonna disappear. You're gonna become someone else's pet at this point, because we've been given orders. I don't know exactly what orders they've been given, but because I assume they don't know about Eam. But it's interesting that Vivi has now been captured. Not harmed, not killed, captured. So whatever Eam is plotting that involves the Nefertari family, it was enough to kill Cobra, but not enough to assassinate Vivi. Interesting. Well, as she's talking to them, she learns from them that Shirahoshi is safe because the Straw Hat Grand Fleet attacked Charlos, and as if Luffy didn't have enough of a red flag on his back, a big target saying, please kill me. Now his Grand Fleet's off causing mayhem in his name. But we also learn a more interesting fact. Fujitora, Isho, and Ryukyugu, Aramaki, they got into a fight. Because as they were fighting off they were protecting the Celestial Dragons and Mary Joie from the Revolutionary Army, Fujitora decided to help free the slaves. And I'm sure he did it in a way that was accidentally freeing the slaves, which is why Aramaki and him ended up getting into a fight. So the two of them duked it out. I don't think Fujitora's fired, but this, on top of letting Luffy go, he's not going to be a Marine for a very long time, and he will probably be an ally in whatever final battle or whatever crazy thing happens to the Marines next. Finally, though, as Vivi is learning these things, that is when they hear a crack, and Jabra's like, is somebody at the wall? And Wapol comes bursting in like the Kool-Aid Man, screaming at the top of his lungs, you'll never take me alive! And he's running, and Vivi takes this as an opportunity to jump into Wapol's mouth, a very dangerous thing to do when the Munch Munch user is running towards you. But Wapol just eats the next wall and continues going, and CP0's just like, well, that sort of just happened. Wait, where's Vivi? And Wapol's running. He's got Vivi in his mouth. His wife actually sees him with her, and she's just like, oh, what are you doing, honey? And who's that girl with you? And Vivi in Wapol's mouth is like, whoa, Wapol, where are you going? And Wapol just goes, to the ends of the earth if I have to. I am getting out of here. And Vivi goes, awesome, take me with you. As the two of them are running off, Miss Universe is... she thinks Wapol's running off with a younger woman, that he's having an affair, and that he has run. So if Wapol wasn't sitting right next to Morgan's currently in the story, that would probably be the latest tabloid news, is Wapol's cheating on his wife. But that's obviously not going to be in the news. In fact, I'm starting to wonder how much Eam will be broadcasted. Did Wapple tell Vivi and Morgans everything, or just enough? Because who knows what's going to happen next. The only thing left on my mind when it comes to questions is, what's in Lily's letter? What's in Lily's letter that changed what Cobra was going to ask the elders, what Cobra was going to do at the Reverie? So, yeah, the ball has been spiked. It has slammed into the ground. We saw how Cobra died. We saw what Sabo saw. We know Sabo has a message for Luffy, so it's only a matter of time before they come together. And we also know one of the 5 elders is heading for Egghead Island right now, and we have confirmed he is a power user of some kind. So I'm looking forward to going back to Egghead. That's probably where we're heading in the next chapter. But as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Helios, Xing out.